The Philosophy of Logical Atomism by Bertrand Russell. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Landon D. Elkind at the University of Iowa in Iowa City, Iowa. The following articles are the first 2 lectures of a course of 8 lectures delivered in London in the first months of 1918, and are very largely concerned with explaining certain ideas, which I learnt from my friend and former pupil, Ludwig Wittgenstein. I've had no opportunity of knowing his views since August 1914, and I do not even know whether he is alive or dead. He has, therefore, no responsibility for what is said in these lectures, beyond that of having originally supplied many of the theories contained in them. The 6 other lectures will appear in the 3 following numbers of The Monist. Br. Lecture 1. Facts and Propositions. This course of lectures, which I am now beginning, I have called The Philosophy of Logical Atomism. Perhaps I had better begin by saying a word or 2 as to what I understand by that title. The kind of philosophy that I wish to advocate, which I call logical atomism, is one which has forced itself upon me in the course of thinking about the philosophy of mathematics, although I should find it hard to say exactly how far there is a definite logical connection between the two. The things I am going to say in these lectures are mainly my own personal opinions, and I do not claim that they are more than that. As I have attempted to prove in the Principles of Mathematics, when we analyze mathematics, we bring it all back to logic. It all comes back to logic in the strictest and most formal sense. In the present lectures, I shall try to set forth in a sort of outline, rather briefly and rather unsatisfactorily, a kind of logical doctrine which seems to me to result from the philosophy of mathematics. Not exactly logically, but as what emerges as one reflects a certain kind of logical doctrine, and on the basis of this, a certain kind of metaphysic. The logic which I shall advocate is atomistic, as opposed to the monistic logic of the people who more or less follow Hegel. When I say that my logic is atomistic, I mean that I share the common sense belief that there are many separate things. I do not regard the apparent multiplicity of the world as consisting merely in phases and unreal divisions of a single indivisible reality. It results from that a considerable part of what one would have to do to justify the sort of philosophy I wish to advocate would consist in justifying the process of analysis. One is often told that the process of analysis is falsification, that when you analyze any given concrete whole, you falsify it, and that the results of analysis are not true. I do not think that is a right view. I do not mean to say, of course, and nobody would maintain, that when you have analyzed, you keep everything that you had before you analyzed. If you did, you would never attain anything in analyzing. I do not propose to meet the views that I disagree with by controversy, by arguing against those views, but rather by positively setting forth what I believe to be the truth about the matter, and endeavoring all the way through to make the views that I advocate result inevitably from absolutely undeniable data. When I talk of undeniable data, that is not to be regarded as synonymous with true data, because undeniable is a psychological term, and true is not. When I say that something is undeniable, I mean that it is not the sort of thing that anybody is going to deny. It does not follow from that it is true, though it does follow that we shall all think it true, and that is as near to truth as we seem able to get. When you are considering any sort of theory of knowledge, you are more or less tied to a certain unavoidable subjectivity, because you are not concerned simply with the question what is true of the world, but what can I know of the world? You always have to start any kind of argument
Sample complete. Ready to continue?